Okay, we are going to be making animals today out of clay, and you can make all different kinds. And so these are just a few examples right over here of different ones that we can make. But what's cool is what I'm going to teach you today is they all start from the same basic shape. So you can make, and you can even make more than this, but they all start with, they all have 4 legs and a head. Is basically what it is, and then you can make them into anything, any position you want. Okay, first of all, I'm going to be giving you a piece of clay like this, and it's just kind of globby, and that's okay. You can take some extra and put it off here. We might be using that for our head later on. And you're going to get this square thing. Well, an animal is not shaped square. So what you need to do is you need to squeeze it, and we're going to make like a kind of a fat log. Just make it like this. So once you get that done, that is our first step. It just looks like a log. It's really easy. You push in the corners so it's more round. Then you're going to take a tool from the wood tools, and you are going to slice all the way through to the bottom right here. So I sliced right here, and I'm going to slice right here. So it looks like an H now. Can you see an H in that, a capital H? I did not cut in this area at all. Now, animal legs are not shaped at all like this. So now I have to think, okay, so I'm going to push in those corners and kind of round them out just a little bit because I don't want to have a square looking legs on my animal. So I'm going to go like this. So now I have this great H with these kind of curved edges on the clay. Now I'm taking a dowel. This is a dowel rod, and this is going to be my support so it doesn't crush when I'm working on it. So I'm going to gently work it over the dowel rod. Now clay does not like to get pushed too fast because you have to remember it's just plain mud. So I have to gently, and little bit by little bit, and now all my 4s are touching on the ground. You can see where they touch on the ground, and they're leaning over my support. Now I can work on this and not worry about it crushing it. Now I have this extra clay, and this is just a blob of clay, and I need to think of what kind of head do I want. Do I want a circle head like I use, kind of like, you can see it's a circle, and I use that for a cat? Or do I want a head that looks more like it's longer and then it's got like a trunk? Do you want something like that? Or this one is just kind of almost a rectangle shape. You can kind of see that in that piece. So you need to think about what type of head and neck do you want. You know what? This time I'm actually going to make, here, for this cat, I would make it like this, or a bear, I would make a round head, and you can see how that would fit on there. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to, or actually I'm going to make a dog, and I'm going to make a little bit of a neck this time, which I haven't done. So I'm going to put a ball, I'm going to kind of shape it, because I want to think about the muzzle of a dog. And this does, that doesn't look like a dog yet at all. And he's going to have a little bit longer neck. Can you see the neck shape I'm pulling out? And I've got the head shape here. So it's very rough. Doesn't look like a dog at all. Now I'm going to talk about slipping and scoring. When I say slip and score, whenever I want this to join to this, I have to slip and score. Otherwise, if I fire it in the kiln, it might look like that. It falls off if I do not slip and score. So what I'm going to do is where I'm going to attach my head, I am going to, this is called scoring, and I am going to just chop that up. I want to do a good job chopping that up. And I'm going to chop the bottom of this, the neck, where I'm going to put this. So I've got these both scored. Now my slip is just water, and I'm going to put my fingers in water, and I'm going to tap it. So anyway, when I say slip and score, this is what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to tell you wiggle twiggle. So this is my wiggle twiggle part, and I have to wiggle twiggle, and then I'm going to say goose is good, and it's going to come out, and there's goose that comes out of this. That is goose is good. So wiggle, twiggle, goose is good. So now I've got my animal. Now this one has more of a neck compared to my other animals. But it's the same structure. Now this could actually be a horse. It could be a dog. It could be even if I stretch it out, it could be a giraffe. You know, so think about what you want to make, because this is your art. And remember, we have lots of choices. Okay, today I think I'm going to stay with the dog, because I love dogs. And I'm going to first I'm pulling out his muzzle. And I'm just kind of starting to shape him now. Bringing back, you can see I'm pulling back his head a little bit. And now I need to make some ears. Now ears are really easy to make. You pull out 2 globs of clay, about the same, and I roll them into balls. So I've got these 2 balls, and then I take it and I shape it into a fat triangle. Oh my, look at how fat that triangle is. We do not want to make skinny ears on dogs because they all fall off. This one needs to be a little bigger. So, and now I'm going to make another triangle. Fat triangle. You can see this is my triangle shape right here. But when I turn it to the side, you can see how it is pretty fat. Now, I'm going to put my ears on here. Now, what happens if I don't slip and score and wiggle, twiggle, goose is good? They would fall off. So I need to put them where I want them, take them back off, and go, okay, this is where I want my ear. And this is where I want my other ear. And right here. And right here. Now I'm going to put my slip on, which is water. And wiggle, twiggle. Everyone say wiggle, twiggle with me. Wiggle, twiggle. And we're going to put a little water here. And I wiggle, twiggle. Goose is good. Now, that is my ears. Okay? So now, what I've got, basically my features done. Oh, I did forget about its tail, didn't I? So now I'm going to make a tail. I don't want a huge tail. All right, but I'm just going to show you. A lot of people like to stick their tails on like this. But what's going to end up happening is this will end up breaking off very easily. So what I want you to do, if you want a nice big tail like that, that's fine, but I'm going to show you a trick. First of all, this is where I want my tail to attach, so I have to scratch that up. That's scoring. Just scratch this up, put this on, wiggle, twiggle. Now remember, if I keep it like that, it will break off. So in order to protect that, I'm going to curl this tail gently. I just take time. I'm going to curl it around and touch it onto its body. Sometimes I'll get a few cracks in there, but I just rub my finger right on there. And now that tail will not break off. Now we're at the fun part, and I love this part. I've got my main structure done, but now I have to think about its details. We've talked about fur last week, and what if it has long fur or short fur, and I am going to start putting on fur. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, you can grab all kinds of tools for this, but I can touch it, and I am just putting, I can go like this, put fur on this, and I can rub it in a little bit if I don't want it quite that much, and I can start to, I can do this whole thing. If you don't want to put fur on it and texture, that's okay too, you decide. So I'm just going to do this one side so it doesn't take so long for this video. But I'm going to go like this. I can drag my tool, but I tend to like to do it this way because fur is not really long. And I actually turn my tool around a little bit so I get it, so I don't get a strong pattern. And let's say you decide you want to change it. You just have to rub your fingers over it and it'll go away. So anyway, so here's my texture. And then I want to remember kind of, there we go. Push that nose in a little bit. Looks like a kind of a pig almost, doesn't it? Anyway, now I want to do the details of the face. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to poke its eyes in, and I'm going to wiggle this around just to make them a little bigger, because I want a big eyes. And then I have to think about a nose, what shape the nose is, and I think the nose is, I'm going to go like that, and I'm just going to kind of press. You can use all kinds of tools, and you do not have to use even my tools that I'm using. Here's my nose. I'm just going to press it back. And then I'm going to do that mouth part. And I kind of like to make dogs with smiles. And I might even open his mouth out. Let's open his mouth out so he's actually barking. So actually I stick the stick right into the ball of clay. And here, now his mouth is open and I can kind of turn it and he's like talking to me. And now I can think of the whiskers. The whiskers come out of little dots if you want. You don't have to. You can have fur on its ears if you want. You can do all kinds of things. I don't want to forget its feet. I got to just find another tool for that. It doesn't matter. And I can put in its paws right there in the front. Okay, now he's not finished yet. I have quite a bit of work to do, but at least you get a good idea of what you can do. When you're done with this part, what I love doing is when I'm done with all the details, I can kind of go like this. I can turn its head sideways, like he's looking, like he's happy. I can put him on the ground. I can have him sit if I want and squish him down. I can do that. Or I could just leave him. I can turn it so he's walking. Look at how I moved his leg forward. I can do that, like he's stepping out. So there's lots of different things you can do with this basic body shape. So just to have fun, use your imagination and create something that you love.